friends, thank you so much for joining me today. Do you ever have those tasks around the house where it's like, gosh, I've been meaning to do that, I've been meaning to do that? Well, I've got those, but I've also got some makeup stuff that I feel that way about. I've just been meaning to try these different things, and now is the time. There have been some items that I've received in PR, and maybe I have played with them a little bit, or maybe not at all. And it's just like, go ahead and figure out what you think. Like, they've just been sitting here in this area, just waiting to be further dealt with. They're like if I had one of those little filing trays, like on my desk, all this stuff is in there. It's just sitting there and it hasn't been moved in a little bit. Okay, so I'm coming off of our dance show last night, Spring Showcase night 1. Tonight is night 2. We do it all again. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed sitting there just watching all the dances. The theme of the overall show is Oh, the Places You'll Go, and Belle's routine was 9 to 5 and Biddy's routine was Walking on Sunshine. And we all, just my whole family, enjoyed the heck out of it. Even Bubba was sitting there like clapping, like ready for the next one to go on and then ready to clap for it. It was just a great time, but I'm not gonna lie, I could have used like a little more sleep this morning. But we're ready to go. We've got our skincare on, and I'm gonna use one of these Prime Lab primers today. I've been into the pore one, which I think is really good, the pore smoothing, and this is the dullness reducer. I've played with this a time or two, and I just thought I want to get everybody's impression on what they think this is all about. It says corrects dullness and evens tone over time. It has 4% niacinamide, but the actual color of this, I mean, it's not like they say this is a deep tone or whatever. You would think like, okay, if I want something that's a dullness reducer, this is just suitable for anyone. It doesn't distinguish that, but this is the color. It looks kind of bronzy, and I guess this helps reduce the dullness, huh? So I've worn this a time or two, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. It makes my skin look like I just applied like a sunless tanner. It's like we're gonna reduce the dullness over time, but we also want some instant gratification for those who just can't wait that long. So, I don't know. I'd like to know what you guys think of this, if you've tried it. I mean, it certainly does like give the skin a little perk up, doesn't it? I just wasn't expecting that the first time I tried it. Consistency-wise, it feels like just a really thin moisturizer, sort of. It doesn't add too much weight on top of like my skincare I've already put on, so thought I'd show that off. Oh, from Buxom, there's a new collection, and one of the things in it is a Summer Babe Plumping Lip Oil. Now, I don't think this lip oil really plumps. I don't feel any effect like that, but there is a little ball in it, and there's shimmer that settles to the bottom. So I gotta shake it up. I gotta get it incorporated. This is how I get the blood flowing this morning. It's still not, you see what I mean? That looked clear a second ago, and now it's got this kind of like woo. But it's super thin. It truly is like an oil. Some things that say lip oil feel more like a gel that maybe is infused with a little oil. This truly feels like oil. So I'm gonna put it on at the start just to kind of soften. I told you guys, more brands are thinking about roller balls these days. What was that noise? It's thin, thin, thin like oil. You don't really see a lot of that shimmer translating. That's just for fun. That's just like your early morning workout to shake that up at first. But it's moisturizing, and it really will soften up your crusty lips if you just leave it on there for a little bit. So yeah, that's Buxom. And it smells good too. It smells kind of tropical island vibes. Yep. All right. Oh, next thing. We're gonna use this Natasha Denona hy-glam, I think I called it hy-glow before. It's hy-glam concealer. It's a brightening and hydrating crease-proof serum concealer. And I have a couple of shades in it. R2 is really, really brightening for me, and N2 is pretty much a skin tone match. I'm gonna use some N2 in some areas like this. So this was sent to me in PR, and I've been liking this concealer. This has been one where, yeah, I've been using it, but I haven't really talked a lot about it. The formula is thin and light. I do feel it packs a coverage punch. For whatever reason, I feel like I should put on a lot, and I have to pace myself because it is potent. And sometimes thin but coverage dense concealers mess with our minds that way because we think, well, it's thin. Maybe I need to put on a little extra, but you really don't need a lot with this. So I've taken the R2, oh, hello, squeaky door. Biscuits came in. R2, that's the one, like if I had to just stick with one shade, I would use that. But I have the N2 on the lower part of my face. But I saw Wayne Goss post a video with the title of like the most perfect concealer ever or something like that. Sorry, Wayne, I'm messing up the title of whatever it was. But it was this concealer and I hadn't had a chance to watch it yet, and the title basically indicated that he really, really liked this stuff. So there's a lot of brightness there with that shade. See what I mean? I did tiny dots. I have good coverage. You saw me use this if you watched my Q&A. Didn't I use this in the Q&A? Try not to rake my brush over my oily lips. But the reason why I'm doing concealer first is because I have a powder foundation to use. So I've got a certain powder to put over top of this, and then powder foundation all over. But look how brightened my under eye is. Wow. See, I like that effect sometimes. I really like to go there with it. So a little goes a long way. It's fairly thin and it leaves you feeling really covered. It has been a really nice concealer. Of anything that I've used in this video, this has been the item that I put on most frequently, kind of trying to figure it out. And I think less is more has been one of my takeaways with that one. You don't have to put on a lot of product. Now, from Makeup Forever. I was just talking about another Makeup Forever loose powder, just the Ultra HD setting powder. The one in the shade Vanilla, I'm like, it's an actual like opaque colored powder, you know, it really makes a difference. Well, now they got these little pastel Easter egg, the HD Skin Twist and Light powder, and this is 1.0 light. What you do is you give a quick turn on the bottom. I think that's cranking out some of these shades. You open this up, and then it's, oh, you have this little area you're looking down into, and can you see the powder that has cranked out there in the bottom? Yeah, it goes down. It's like down at the bottom of the well. There's your shades. Now, this is my first time using this one, and I saw Sam Sherman talking about this, and she said it made her under eyes look so gray. So that didn't really excite me. And I'm like, just go ahead and try it for yourself. So I'm just taking my Morphe Under Eye Bullet Brush, because it's down deep in there, okay? If you could use your little sponges, I guess, or little powder puffs, but I feel like I'm really picking up everything with that. Okay, let's really set this under eye and see if she's looking like a gray cast. On my skin tone, I feel like it's pretty brightening. Okay, now I need more. I want more. Crank it a few times. Whoa! Okay, we got a lot there. More than necessary. I won't use all that. I think maybe it depends on how much of the blue, whoa, how much of the blue you pick up. That could maybe add to kind of a grayish look. Right now, I'm not sure my under eyes could look much more brightened than this. Any tackiness left by the concealer, this kind of took care of that. This is the kind of thing I'm gonna have to keep like playing with, experimenting with. The container is certainly bulky as heck. Like, that's huge. So we got that. And then for a long time I've been meaning to play with this. This is the Makeup Forever HD Skin Matte Velvet. So this is going to act as my foundation, and I really do need something that's going to last well today because I got another dance show to go to tonight, and they say 24-hour undetectable blurring powder foundation. Shade I have is 1R12. Looks like this. Has an interesting little sponge here where it feels spongy on one side and like a velour on the other side. I'm gonna start out, at least, and may stick with the BK Beauty 107 brush. I feel like this has a capability of looking extremely full coverage, and I may not want to go there right away. I don't know. I have used this just barely, kind of playing with it on top of some light coverage stuff, but this is my first time trying to really work it in as a powder foundation. So this would be, I think, the lightest possible way you apply it, is with a brush like this that isn't, it's got some density, but it's not like real tight. Skin looks matte. It doesn't look overly thick. I still have my light as heck under eye rocking. This is that velour side. That's very satisfying. It is giving me some mega coverage. Like if you look at that cheek and down the side, freckles and whatnot are barely visible there. I think the big question for me will be, can this really last? Will this maintain throughout the day? Because it's looking great right now. Things look smooth, even. I mean, it doesn't look too thick and dry, which I think is often the fear with powder foundations. I'm really, really pleased with where we're at there. And of course we have that great coverage on the under eye. We can thank the concealer for that. And you know, the setting powder really topped it off. But, oh, proof of my lack of familiarity here. We also have a film to pull. Woo! Next up, I am very, very familiar, as you know, with the Persona sticks. I love those blush sticks. I have the bronzer stick in Sahara, and recently in some PR, I received the one in Dune, and I thought, oh, I've never tried that. Let's see how Dune works for me. Clearly just cracking this one open for the first time. Oh no! I just took a chunk out of it with that little top cap. Doggone it. This is looking like I forgot it was a bronzer stick and thought it was a chocolate stick and just took a bite out of it. Well, shoot. I could try not to waste what's in that cap and like swipe that on maybe. Oh, I'm crazy. This is awkward. Yeah, she's just gonna go. What I meant to do was show you the difference. I've been working with Sahara. This is Dune. Dune is substantially lighter. Dune is looking kind of like the Milk matte bronzer in Baked, kind of on that level. So let's just go with it. It'll work just fine, except when it chunks off because you messed it up. I actually think this shade will be really good for me. The blendability is nice with these sticks. I always say the M Cosmetics So Soft sticks are the softest, but these are pretty creamy as well. They're up there. They're neck and neck, really. Okay, that blended out nice. You can tell on the cheek, like that's perfect, really. Nice. With the light bulb, turn it off. I would say I had a very easy time blending this out. And this is one where if you wanted to take it up a little bit more, not use it purely as contour, but just for a little like bronziness, even kind of on top of the cheeks, as I'm kind of pulling my blend up a bit, it actually seems really effective in that way as well, where Sahara I might not be prone to doing that with because it's just so deep. I like that a lot. I dig it. Thank you, Persona. And we're just playing with all kinds of textures on the face because we got our powder foundation, then we put on a stick, and now we've got blush I'm really excited about. This is the new stuff. This hasn't been sitting in the tray just waiting forever. I received these very recently. Essence Pure Nude Baked Blushes. We've got a variety of shades. In the PR package, just one of them was broken and I had to let it go because it was beyond the point of repair. But look at all these colors. Like, where do we begin? I haven't even used one of these yet. These colors here, these look pretty vivid. Ooh, this one called Berry Cheeks, I'm kind of zoning in on that. I think we pick a light one and like that one, more vivid one. How about this soft one called Pink Flush? That seems really, really light. Let's do a little swatch check here. Ooh, very light, has quite a sheen to it. Let's see. Brush is fairly loaded. Ooh, it really feels to me like blush and highlighter in one. Buildable. I'm seeing a little pink there. That's nice. It's actually looking really pretty as it kind of fades up toward the under eye. Nice look today. And this one again is called Pink Flush. And as I just glanced over what I had, this seemed like, would I call it the lightest looking one? Now, one of the lighter ones. There's still a couple others that I'd put in this category of just very soft looking blushes. Oh, that's lovely. Now keep in mind, when you build up a blush like this, you not only build up a little bit of color, but you build up shimmer too. So some people may not want this much glow, but this is definitely giving highlighter optional skin. And then I want just a dab of Berry Cheeks. I want to see what this is like, because it looks like, if you compare the two, this has so much less shimmer in it. This one looks borderline highlighter. This one looks like it might just have a little satin finish. So let's give a gentle dab there, and then just kind of graze it over. Oh, I'm gonna have a fun time with these. Yeah, just try to hold me down to one of them in a look. So I did one dab and I got what I would deem to be more than enough. So I'm kind of dabbing on my hand as well. This would be some good stage blush for the girls. Yes, I did do their makeup for the show last night. They had a certain instruction for like Belle to have a pink blush and pink lip, and Biddy to have a red blush and a red lip. And it worked out really well. It was fun. I'm just taking this brush and I'm kind of dabbing it around here just a little bit, just to kind of rein in the blush slightly. I didn't add anything to this brush. It was just the one that I used with the loose powder. But I would say so far so good on the Essence Pure Nude blushes. I think this bodes very well the fact that I really like the lighter shade, very, very glowy. This shade, extremely rich, a little goes a long way. This Buxom Summer Babe collection. The lip oil, still on there, softening things up, but not feeling like quite as much right now. Like it's absorbed a little bit, I think. And again, there's a ball in there and you can shake it up and make it look kind of shimmery, even though the shimmer doesn't really show. But also part of that collection is the Summer Babe Glow Stick in Sunlit. And this is really pretty. Look at that tone. When it's not directly hitting the light, you're thinking, what is that? Is that kind of like a little bit of a pink? But sheer it out and put it in direct light and it's just as bright as anything. So I'm gonna give myself a little bit of this right up at the top of the cheekbone. Yes, I did declare that it was highlighter optional skin that I have right now, but we got products to work with. And then I'm just gonna grab this little putty applicator brush. It's kind of somewhat bare. I'm just gonna dab over that. The stick feels a little bit on the dry side. I'm gonna get my fingers in it again just to see, but it is able to blend, and like I said, when it's in direct light, I mean, it bounces off the cheeks. It's like it's creamy, but not in a real juicy way. This isn't gonna add a lot of creamy texture to your skin, and that may be good news for some folks, but yeah, it's pretty. And it is also the kind of highlighter where I do see some shimmer flecks. They're fine. It's not really going the route of super undetectable. In my eyes, this is a good but not earth-shattering highlighter. Oh, and I forgot. So this is the Summer Babe palette. It has this cool little texture on the top, and fun fact, this came to me with one shade broken. This shade up here, and I went through my first ever experience actually adding rubbing alcohol to my broken product. It's really tricky when it's part of a palette, but basically this was in chunks. You pulverize it with a small little, I think I used one of Bub's collar things that he uses in his dress shirts, and you mash it all up so it's just grainy. Make it finely milled, and then get a little bit of alcohol in there, mix it around, try to press it down. I added like way too much to where it looked like chocolate sauce, so I really had to let it sit a while, but now it is firm, and that is the original color it was, but it looks kind of different. See how it had a chalkiness, and then I got that swatch there and it looks like this. But that is back to the original color for sure. It was just too bad that it came broken. But there's a little bronzer in here, I guess was my point, and I wanted to go into that and maybe just, I don't know, do a little topping off. Add a little extra bronzy glow. Don't really need it, but it's a really goldeny bronzer. So I'm not gonna do a lot because I just don't think it's necessary at this stage of the game, but just so you know, it's part of that palette. And also this sort of golden highlighter. See that? Goldeny bronze looking, or it could be just another eyeshadow. Either of those shades could be eyeshadows. So this is the face with powder foundation, some really nice blushes. We've got that hy-glam, I keep wanting to say high glow. It's hy-glam concealer from Natasha Denona. We got our Persona stick. Now from the makers of Shadow Insurance, we have Too Faced Makeup Insurance. Never used this before. 18-hour wear, long wear setting spray plus blue light defense. It's gonna wake up your children. Just do it. Just shake the things with the balls in them. That's what's happening today. Pretty sprayer. Let's do a little test mist. Okay, that looks really nice and fine. It smells, oh my gosh, a little bit of coconut. What is that really good smell? It's like coconutty, but not pure sunscreen kind of coconut. I feel like it's all over my body. This is supposed to give 18-hour wear, so the mist is really good, really fine. Love the scent. The scent might keep me coming back, but I don't like having to shake that ball. Ball's in here too. The birdies are chirping out there. They're like, we heard that. Top of my shirt is actually wet. I don't think I went that hard with it. I'm gonna do some brows. I'm gonna just grab my Brow Stylist Definer from L'Oreal. We're just kind of working through this pencil already. Like, I didn't buy this that long ago, but that's all the further up she'll go. Just a little tip left. Biscuits is like, is that a new cat toy you were shaking over there? Maybe some people love that, but I would really appreciate a formula that didn't require the loud shaking. I don't know, back when I was in college, I'd probably be like, yeah, it's like a maraca. This is a really nice pencil. I mean, every time I use the skinny pencil, I'm like, it's one of many options you have to spend less than Brow Wiz if you want to. When is that bunny gonna get put into storage? It's not Easter anymore. I've managed to take down my Easter decor in other parts of the house. She just looks so at home back there. Wouldn't it be funny if, like, the moment I take that off, the day she gets removed, Biscuits goes back to sitting up there again? It's one of those things in life where the times I'm thinking of it are not the times, like, I'm here to do anything about it. Like, I'll think about it the whole time I'm editing a video, but then go on and do something else downstairs and not actually do anything about the bunny. Or right now, I'm doing my makeup. I'm knowing the bunny's back there, but I'm not gonna take the time to rearrange my backdrop right now. Ah! It's okay, L'Oreal, you've been good to me. Brow Stylist Definer. NYX Control Free Brow Gel. Speaking of controlling your hairs, that got to be glued, I think it's called, gel. That's my key to pulling back hair, particularly cheer hair without flyaways. Last night both the girls had a style where they only needed it partially pulled back, and I still used it just to slick some of those little hairs back in. But if you're doing a cheer ponytail, what I like to do is take a detangler spray, spray that all over, especially the hair that's getting pulled back against the scalp and everything, and that lets you kind of get it all nice and neat. And then you pull it up and use some of that got to be glued over the little hairs, and it really does stay, and then finish with hairspray. That's been my formula for a tight pulled back hairdo. Milani eyeshadow primer, and then for cheer the girls have hair pieces. They're actually straight, but they go behind the bow and give a lot of volume. I guess gives everybody the same looking ponytail. And I'm gonna return to the palette where I rescued the eyeshadow. I was really proud of myself for that because it was a mess, you know, like little bits of it were all over here, and I blew it off of the rest, and then I felt like, okay, once I got the bits off of there, I thought if I can just fix that, I can have a usable palette. And we really needed her because she was the one matte shade over here, her and this one. Everything else is shimmery. This bronzer looks a little bit matte. Let's just see what we can do. Let's go with some of this shade. She looks shimmery, but not too crazy. Let's see what that'll do for the crease. I get the feeling that this palette is not about doing a really defined eye look, or like a real high contrast eye, but just about doing kind of a faded out, glowing bronze goddess type of eye. That one sheared out and doesn't really look all that shimmery once I get it to this point. Then I'm going to use a little bit of the highlighter shade, which appears to be matte. Let that come right up here. Matte cream. Let's use our rescued color here. Oh my gosh, it's like so soft though. I mean, I tapped off a boatload of excess just then. So it looks a lot warmer as I apply it than it did when it was just sitting there in the pan, kind of unused since my repair. But yeah, this is giving a little contrast. I'm gonna grab a little bit of that too and put it on my crease brush and let it come into the crease as well. Have you ever repaired a broken powder product? I feel like it'd be easier if it wasn't within a palette, because then I could really like press it down and make it look neat. This looks like the top texture of like a butter bronzer. It's like ripply. It really mimics the texture of the outside here. I feel like that's something Huda would do, you know? Throw in one eyeshadow that looks like it's got waves in it or something. Okay. This is blending out really nicely. Some kind of master chemist just came in and mixed it with alcohol and created a whole new formula. Okay, nice. Then what? I'm really curious about this color here. It looks so glitzy. Maybe a little bit of that kind of on the center of the lid. I think copper, maybe mixed with a little ruby and a lot of golden sparkle. You wouldn't have to apply this with the finger. It's just, I kind of got some on my finger and felt like immediately using it. Okay, and then maybe we go to the shade above that that looks like it has some real brilliance. At a glance it looks like a very light taupe, but I think it's got so much shimmer that it's really gonna pop. Is Buxom still doing those little eyeshadow palettes you can make yourself? I don't think they are, but I could be wrong. This shade actually is not as off the wall shimmery as you might think. I'm not mad at this eye look. I'm just not like, oh my gosh, this is such a must-have palette. As you can see, one half of it, shadow-wise, gives you a little more brownish richness. We've kind of been playing in this zone, but over here, more golds. I did use that shade in the crease at first. But this is a really pure gold, and then a deeper gold. And they seem nice and soft. None of these shades seem too dry or too flaky to work, so I appreciate that. I don't want to go too hard on my lower lash line with powder shadow today because I really do want this look to last and be fresh for tonight. I'm going to use some of this L'Oreal Infallible Grip up to 36-hour wear. These have lasted well in the waterline, although I'm kind of steering clear of doing stuff in my waterline because I think I had a sty or something, maybe just like an inflamed little hair follicle for just a couple days, and I couldn't see an actual sty, like I couldn't see a little bump on my lower lash line, but it just felt sore for a couple of days and a little bit red, but not glaringly red, and I just didn't put anything on there for a couple days, and now it's totally back to normal. But I don't know if that was just a little reminder to me like, hey, quit putting stuff in there. But these did last really well in the lower inner rim, especially if you kind of built them up. I don't really want to deal with that. Do that at your own risk. It's generally not advised by people in the medical world to put stuff on the lower inner rim. For mascara, I'm just going to use this one that I've been experimenting with lately. It's the Falsies Surreal from Maybelline. And then lip-wise, I've got quite a few different directions I could go in terms of things I need to talk about and try. Yeah, we got options. It's crazy to look at my skin and think this is a powder foundation day. I've got so much glow, but it doesn't feel sticky at all. It just feels smooth. Okay, the Surreal Lash. This turns out to be way more defining on your lashes than you expect. Just looking at the brush, like, I don't expect that much definition, and it's getting better as I continue to use it. I think I'm liking it even better now after a week or so. Look, that's a decently big lash for me. Okay, here's where we're at with that mascara so far. Really good. If you pick this up, keep giving it some chances. If you got lashes like mine where it's like, oh, I don't know how much it's doing. I'm not saying it was bad from the start, but I feel like it's building on itself even better right now. The lip thing that I haven't really touched yet that I'm most intrigued by is this stuff from Physicians Formula called Diamond Last Mineral Wear Lip Cream. And I've got several shades, Topaz Taupe, Majestic Mauve, or Rose Quartz. Let's try the Rose Quartz. I do have some other products, some glosses that are in this kind of format with that cool like diamond cap. Let's see what this is like. Will it dry down or will it stay kind of creamy? They call it a lip cream. It's incredibly thin. That shade's pretty. We're gonna have to stand by for just a moment here. See if it really does like change and shift and dry down. Meanwhile, I could take like a little extra powder, use some of that right in here, further perfect. I'm not really seeing a gray cast from this powder on my skin. Actually, I think it's quite brightening, and I had a very light concealer underneath. I can tell right now that it is drying down slightly. Now to the point where it's not really transferring off, but the lips kind of want to stick to one another if they touch. Really pretty shade, and I appreciate the thinness. I'm excited to play with some of the other colors too. So what immediately grabbed me after doing this video, I think these Essence Pure Nude blushes are something special. I'm eager to try more of the shades. I wasn't really wowed by the buxom stuff. The lip oil, which was like, okay, you know, in a treatment mode, but not really like something you're going to want to wear out. It's just straight up oil. I wasn't floored by the stick highlighter, and the palette was kind of like some real common shades that I've used before. I was just really proud of that one that I fixed that. Up there with the blushes in terms of what I was pretty impressed by today, and I've had some experience with these, but these hy-glam concealers I think are very, very good. So was the Makeup Forever powder that I used all over. I mean, you talk about actually covering but not looking like a thick powdery foundation. We'll see how the staying power goes today. I'll definitely be looking at my skin before I go to the dance thing. Maybe we can have a very minimal touch-up kind of day. I feel like I'm going to want to work with this a little bit more to determine what I really think of that. Staying power will be another thing. Does it start to look dry and chalky? This will take a decent amount of time for me to figure out if that's really helping the staying power of makeup. I've got all kinds of new things on my face today that could be a factor. This dullness reducer primer, we're going to keep trucking on that a little bit to figure it out better. The lip is totally dried down now. I would say it just takes a little bit longer to dry down than some other liquid lipsticks that I have, but right now we're at a fully dry place. To touch your lips with your tongue, they feel super dry, so that may or may not be what you want, but that's what this one does. Oh, I like the Persona Stick in Dune a lot too. So that's my video today, friends. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I would love to hear your requests in the comments section. If you got anything you're dying to see a video on, let me know, and I will talk to you again very soon. I love you. Bye.